welcome to New Game Plus. I'm Tim, I'm joined by Donald again. How are you?
I continue to be not Kirsty. I am being overwhelmed by the amount of games that we are receiving here in Australia whilst the crew continues to mill about in Japan.
Yes, so it's finally coming up to that big
Yes.
gaming season. We've got some big releases coming up, Shadows of Mordor,
Yep.
Alien Isolation, all these fun games that I'm really looking forward to getting into.
We also have Forza Horizon 2, which recently came out, which we are reviewing this week.
Yes, so the big racing franchise for Microsoft this year, and it's looking pretty good.
It's looking very good, so it'll be interesting to see what our very own Planeswalker Alice Clark has to say about it.
Yes, also in this episode we've got some more Tokyo Game Show coverage,
Yep.
As well as Hyrule Warriors, which is another Japanese thing for this week. It always
You could not
just
sound any
slips
more
in there.
interested in that.
Yeah.
But we're also debuting a new segment for you, aren't we, Tim?
Yes, so the idea is we all have Steam libraries that are quite large, so we're finally getting into it, and this will be called the Steaming Pile of Shame.
How big is your library?
It's getting close to 600 now.
Congratulations, you've just admitted that on national television.
Yes.
Whilst we wallow in that self-pity, I reckon it is the perfect time to go into our review of Hyrule Warriors.
The Warriors brand is a very vast brand with its Samurai, Orochi, Pirate Warriors. There's many out there, but they've got a new addition for us, Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, so Hyrule Warriors is basically Dynasty Warriors with Legend of Zelda overlapped. It does have its own Legend of Zelda charm, however, it's really not that much of a Legend of Zelda game in itself.
It's mostly just a hack and slash to its core.
Yeah.
It's basically, thousands of enemies, you try to kill them all, you take over their bases. That's really all there is to it. That said, they've got a lot of game modes. They've got, the storyline, which, let's not go there.
It's a hack and slash, don't go into it.
You don't go to the storylines. But then there's got, adventure mode, which, you explore, a Legend of Zelda-based map from the classic Legend of Zelda. And it's kind of feels really nice. It's different, and it kind of brings some new fans.
We've had different experiences with the game. I mainly played a single player. He's mainly played multiplayer. In single player, I found out that the game is really kind of brainless as a hack and slash. The enemies will not move to attack you. The only real challenge comes from the lieutenants and the bosses that come through. And there are some variety in them, but the game will not provide you any main challenge in the periods in between them. And that's my main qualm with the game. The graphics aren't amazing, the animations aren't great, but it is still fun to grab the controller and just go absolutely nuts on it, which I feel is the main appeal of a Dynasty Warriors type game in itself.
And that, coming from co-op side, it's more, there's little issues here and there where frame rate kind of dies down a few times. If you sometimes go into areas where two bosses are spawning at the same time, because you can split paths, the game kind of freezes for a few seconds, and it's just really, really weird, just standing there waiting for something to happen, but nothing happens. Then it's just the actual screen itself doesn't really look that nice. The gamepad looks nice when you're viewing it, but when it's blown up, it really doesn't look that nice.
Well, what did you like about the game?
That said, I really just love Miso Warriors. So for me, just the hacking and slashing, it's just fun.
Yeah, fair enough. I personally just like the different appeals of characters. There's a lot of variety in weapons, and I really love that. However, I do have a lot of complaints. Animations, graphics, the whole feel of Legend of Zelda is kind of lost on the game itself. There's no mystery, no wonderment, very little puzzle. I personally felt like it was just a Dynasty Warriors game that I was playing.
I enjoyed the music, and that kind of brought me back into the Legend of Zelda feel. And it brought a lot of nostalgia from, the first couple of games, Ocarina of Time and, Mask of...
Yeah, fair enough. I am a big fan of the Legend of Zelda music.
Yeah.
But in conclusion, if you're a Dynasty Warriors player, you might get a lot of fun out of this because it is a Dynasty Warriors game. That's it. If you're a Legend of Zelda player, you'll enjoy the little nods and references to the series. However, it's definitely not a Legend of Zelda game.
But if you haven't actually played one, you still might enjoy it.
I don't enjoy you.
Tim, you are our Dynasty Warriors expert. You are an expert on all things Zelda. Would you play Hyrule Warriors?
I'm not too sure about that, but I can't say I would. I haven't got my Smash machine yet. Not the biggest fan of Zelda, or even though you're hyping me up for it. I've played a few Zelda games, but still not the biggest fan. And Dynasty Warriors, really?
Well, don't you like what's called just slaving through thousands and thousands of opponents? Isn't that why you play World of Warcraft?
But they don't fight back in World of Warcraft. You just stand there pressing buttons and it's fine.
It doesn't sound like they do much of that in Hyrule Warriors or any Dynasty Warriors game either.
Yeah, that's kind of true. You just kind of wade through them. But I see. I just look at this and I see more Dynasty Warriors, and nothing really pulled me in about Dynasty Warriors in the first place. Although I think there's the Zelda fans that will probably see, oh, that's the boss from such and such a game, and I know how to beat this guy because I've already done it in this style of game, but now I get to do it in a Dynasty Warriors fashion.
Yay!
Yeah, that's not me, so I don't think I'll be picking it up.
How many? Have you played many Zelda games though?
I've played bits of a few. I don't believe I've gone through any properly.
You've played infinitely more Zelda than me then. So, Tim, as our Zelda expert, where does Hyrule Warriors fit in the Zelda timeline?
It fits between Ocarina of Time and Dynasty Warriors. So that's about as far as I know.
I'd like to think that it fits between Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time 3D.
So we are here at Burger King Japan. We're checking out their new Kuro burger range, the black burger range.
Can we just open it already?
Yeah, right.
It's yes.
So you got the pearl, and I got the other one, the diamond. I didn't know the diamonds were black.
Things you learn every day.
Whoa, whoa! It's as black as the paper. That's creepy. It's actually got black cheese. You can see the black cheese.
You see the black cheese right there?
Give it a bite, guys. Tell us what you reckon.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully this has a decent amount of preservatives, but... It's very Burger King. That royal taste.
But you can definitely taste the smoked cheese. I can taste the smoked cheese in this.
Yeah.
So it's definitely got like a spice to it. Like,
So what do you reckon? Like, is it that much different, or is it just the Burger King burger?
there is something different to it though. Like, well, maybe it's also the Australian burgers are much like sugarier. This is not very sugary at all, and there is a smoke bite to it.
The bun's very savoury as well.
Very, very savoury.
There you go. Well, we've got it again, and you should probably pick your teeth out.
Okay, this week we've decided to kick off a new segment, Steaming Pile of Shame, because myself and Jordan here, we've got a lot of Steam games to get through.
That's right. I think between all the regular Steam holiday sales and the humble indie bundles, we've racked up quite a few games on Steam.
Yeah, and generally we're just playing Dota anyway, so we need an excuse to get through these massive libraries that we have. And first off, a game that probably a lot of people have seen, Goat Simulator. I picked it up very cheap on sale, and I think there is a reason that it is quite cheap, because there's not a lot to it. Even after 20 minutes, it does feel a lot like an old skate game or something. You've got a little bit of open world and you do stupid things in it. There's a few little references to like the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles and all that. It's a funny game, but I actually enjoyed it more watching Sing Sing play it than actually playing it myself. So it's an entertaining game depending on how much you want to get out of it, because once you've played half an hour, you feel like you've sort of done everything. Unless you go to all like the corners of the map and do everything, you can rack up score multipliers and do all the challenges, but in the end it's a pretty short and shallow game, I would think. But you played something different.
I've been playing something on the opposite end of the spectrum. What I've been playing, Legend of Grimrock. Now this came out in 2012 from Finnish developers Almost Human. Now you've probably seen it on sale a fair few times on Steam, and I think I even picked this up in a humble indie bundle as well.
Yeah.
Now, quite different to Goat Simulator, Legend of Grimrock is a hardcore, it's a real old school, old fashioned style RPG. You're right, you play it in the first person, you're controlling 4 people, but it's a first person view where you're moving kind of grid based, so you just press forward once, everybody will hop forward. And you go through these dungeons, fighting monsters, exploring and solving puzzles and all sorts of stuff. Now, it's a really deep game, it's fairly involved, there's a lot of stats, there's a lot of, you can kind of skip through it, like I took the easy route, I made pre-made characters and I've got it set so the map reveals itself and everything, but it is a really hardcore game. Combat, it's real time. You've got your 4 people, you've got a little interface down in the corner where you control your formation of your 4 characters. You've got warriors up the front with swords and armored up and shields and all that kind of stuff. But then you've got your rogue up the back, your mage up the back, using ranged attacks and stuff. And there's a lot of creativity there with arranging the formation. You don't necessarily have that. You can just have 4 warriors if you want, and like move them from front, behind, and everything. So yeah, it's pretty complex. The exploration's done really well, and a lot of the monsters are pretty interesting. I'm only about halfway through the game so far, and I think the scenery and stuff can get a bit old sometimes. But yeah, it's pretty deep.
But given the segment, would you go back to this game after finishing this, like, what you've played so far?
There's honestly, I could. I feel like I could. It's got me fairly hooked. It was a bit slow in plotting at first. It was a bit stagnant, but once you get into it and start getting items and everything, I think I could play this again.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going back to Goat Simulator though. But next time we'll have a couple more games, and look forward to that.
Welcome to Old Game Plus, and we thought we'd do something different leading up to the end of the year. We'll be doing a review of games of the year, but 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10, 5 years ago. And we'll start off with 20 years ago, 1994 was the year of the arcade, pretty much, and also some fantastic consoles at the time.
Yes, we had the 3DO, which was Time Magazine's product of the year in 1994.
We had the SNES, we had the Sega Mega Drive, and that whole rivalry between Nintendo and Sega.
That was at its peak. It was fantastic. Good trolling too. Between the companies, it's great.
PCs kind of came into their own around then as well.
Yeah, PC gaming was really, really getting good. It was a couple of years after Doom had come out and was really hitting its straps with the 3D graphics cards and that.
Yeah, and first year of Super VGA as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, games at the time. So we've got move on to like the arcades where fighters were king. We had King of Fighters. We had Killer Instinct. We had the original Tekken that came out. The last iteration of Street Fighter 2 came out. So Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So many fighters at the time.
And Sega at the arcades then were really rocking it. And the Saturn was out in 1994 as well. A lot of the Sega arcade games came home, and they were pretty good conversions generally.
PlayStation 1 came out that year.
Yeah, with some wonderful new franchises like Crash Bandicoot. It was really a great time to be a gamer.
And also the Nintendo 64 was on the horizon as well.
Yep.
So lots of 3D gaming just coming out of 2D gaming.
Yeah, it was a changeover of not just generations, but
from cartridge to disc, from 2D to 3D.
Yeah, and the way games were played, 2D to 3D, it was really a fantastic time.
Yeah, but not a fantastic time for some people.
Oh, well, in April 1994, Commodore went into liquidation, which spelt the end of the Amiga.
Anyway, so what was your favourite game of that time?
Easily, I think the second most popular casual game after Tetris, Daytona. Any time you went into a club, you'd see a 2 or 4 player Daytona machine, and everyone wanted to play it. It was just so much fun. I'm very surprised that Sega never used that more with the Saturn and then the Dreamcast, because I thought building a console around that game would have resulted in a very different outcome for them. But Daytona, for me, though, that was just the highlight of that time.
For me, it would have to be, there's so many good games like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic and Knuckles.
Back when Sonic was awesome.
Yeah. Donkey Kong Country, but my favourite would have to be Super Metroid on the SNES. I love Metroidvania. If anyone's known me for any length of time, everyone knows that. So Super Metroid was such a deep, replayable game.
Yes. Yeah, 1994, a very good year for games, except for Commodore.
光ってる。うわあれ顔だ。冗談だろ。
なお出口陛下とニフルハイム帝国のイドラ・エルダーキャスト皇帝との一連の会談はBBCが終了し、
おいノクティス王子起きたか。
オートからの放送じゃもう無理だね。
ダメか。遠くに来たもんだな。王子の寝坊だけは変わんねえが。
あれって燃えてんの？神話の時代の隕石だ。お腹すいた。
座りっぱなしで体痛えわ。
風呂が恋しいな。
そろそろ泊まれる場所が欲しい。ルーナはオルティシエにいるらしい。ご無事なのか。
おお、あっちで待っててくれてるんだ。
他にはなんて？会って渡したいものがあるってさ。
行くよ。はいよ。どうや。大丈夫かドクト。
まあちょっと休んでな。くっそ。手加減は。
山抜けたらそろそろ海だよね。
待たせて悪いな。もうすぐだ。
So Tim, you want to join me on a road trip?
I love road trips.
Do you want to join me on a road trip with dinosaurs?
Yes.
And awesome haircuts?
I don't know about haircuts. It's Final Fantasy.
Fair point. But they worked so long on those haircuts, and indeed Square Enix have worked so long on this game. Remember when they first announced this all the way back in May 2006?
Yes, I know there's a few people here that actually bought PlayStation 3s for this game, but it's good to see that it is in development.
Their words, not ours. That's heartening to see that. Not X 2016, 10 years after the game, just continues to be in development.
Yes. I'm sure when it actually comes out, people will be excited. It looks...
People will be disappointed though, because this is a game that will by that point be in development for like 9, 10, maybe even 11 years.
It's the new Duke Nukem.
It's the new Half-Life 3 pretty much.
Yeah.
No game can meet that long a development time without being either the cure to world peace or being a mild disappointment.
For me, it'll probably be the latter. I'm not hugely into Final Fantasy games, so I'll be looking at this thinking, well, it's really got to do something special to bring me into
I
it.
continue to be optimistic about it, and hell, I kind of like the idea of going on a Final Fantasy road trip. Certainly better than going on a Final Fantasy 20-hour tutorial.
Forza Horizon 2 is the awesome new open-world racing game from Turn 10 Studios. It is the sequel to Forza Horizon 1, and I love it. What do you think?
Oh, well, I'm the newcomer to the series. Okay, so I believe you're the experienced one here. Who's played
Yeah,
bunch of-
I've played
so
a lot.
I'm brand new to Forza. I've never really touched any of the Forzas before. And overall, like, first impressions out of the gate, the graphics, the visual presentation, performance, everything about it was really nice. Apparently
Really
it
pretty.
only runs at 30 frames as opposed to the other one, but I didn't even notice it. Hey, like, I was just playing it and I thought it ran really smoothly compared to the other ones. What do you think? Did you play 5 on the Expo?
Yeah, I played 5. I thought 5 had some graphical problems, like the leaves looked like blobs, which is a bit disappointing. I know it's nitpicking in a car game, but damn it, I want pretty leaves. But yeah, I've loved the series since Forza 2. And the thing that I love about Horizon is that it's just a bit more casual. You're not racing in a circle to win lots of money because reasons. You're just out there having some fun with your friends. Maybe you'll go to a music festival later that you never actually get to see?
Yeah, no, you didn't actually get to. Okay, so I love the presentation and the setting of it. So you're in Europe. There's a music festival. It's the Horizon Festival. Everybody's getting into. Of course, there's lots of racing everywhere. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of focus on just chilling out, just enjoying the game. It's kind of a good Sunday afternoon relaxed game. Now they've got a lot of races. There's a lot of content, but there's also a lot of road trips and a lot of downtime events. And personally, myself, I found it to get a little boring after a while. Okay, so it took me 12 hours to get to the finale and finish the game. And through this game, apparently in my stats, it said it took 4.5 hours of road trips within the game. And these road trips are driving from point A to point B. It's not really a race or anything.
But it's driving from point A to point B, sometimes through a forest, because you can. You don't actually have to follow the suggested driving line, the road trips, and that's what I really like. If you decide, hey, I can see point B where I'm supposed to go to, and I've decided to drive through this guy's backyard, you can drive through that guy's backyard and you'll be rewarded handsomely in skill points, as long as you don't crash into trees or fences.
Yeah, you're right, and there are definitely a few of them where you can tell they've obviously synced everything up to look really nice. You're driving over the plane, you've got the hot air balloons coming in and the sunset and everything looks really nice, and you're kind of just enjoying the moment. And that I can understand, but after 4.5 hours of just no pressure driving, I kind of just wanted to get from race to race, and it's a bit hard to just go from progress to progress.
Well, that's what Forza Horizon, that's what Forza 5 is for. That's for going from race to race. This is to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
But what's getting me about Horizon 2 is that the reason why I loved Horizon 1 is that I could finish it all in about 80 hours, and I felt like I had achieved a lot, and I got 100% achievements, and it was all really, really fun. But in Horizon 2, I've been playing for 14, 15 hours, and I'm like 4 or 5% through the game.
Yes,
Like,
there's a lot of content.
Too much.
Too much? Oh, well, you know, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. You know, I did get to the end of it, but I truly have only finished about 10 or 15% of it, apparently, because there's just so much content out
The
there.
other thing is that the drivatars are assholes.
Yeah, well, that might just be your friends, I guess.
That is very true.
Overall, I enjoyed Forza Horizon 2, despite the downtime. I thought it was really fun. It was really polished. It's a really nice, modern, it's something that shows the new-gen consoles.
Yeah. I love Forza Horizon 2. I think it's really, really great. It's lacking a little bit from Forza Horizon 1 for me, just because of all the loading screens. But it's fantastic, and you should totally play it if you like racing games and casual things.
So more driving simulators. This one particularly looks good.
I prefer walking simulators personally, but I can understand why you guys like your driving simulators. But I'm surprised at how late into the new generation that these games like Drive Club, Forza are coming out, considering they're usually the first thing that come out because they're really easy to show off a new console.
Yes, when you've got your new consoles, you want to show off your brand new spanking graphics and graphics engines and all that.
Yeah.
But particularly car games, they've been looking good for quite some time. So it's hard to improve on that. So maybe they're just trying to squeeze out those few extra pixels in the higher resolutions.
And the crowd effects too. Yeah. I think that's where you need to really focus your work.
Yes. But that's it for this week's episode. You were in Sydney recently at the EB Expo.
For the EB Expo to host the trivia panel. So thank you very much to all of our panelists and all of our participants for joining in and receiving all the prizes and all the trivia knowledge. But if you missed it, Tim, don't fret, we will be at PAX in force, including with another quiz show panel, the Ultimate Industry Quiz Showdown 2, Trivia, Too Furious, Saturday night 9:30 at the Wombat Theatre. Be there.
Come for the trivia, stay for the puns.
And the talking keychains.
Yes. Yes, of course. And also Armageddon is coming up as well next weekend. So if you are into that sort of thing.
Featuring the co-creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So if you're a fan, then go and say hello to him.
Yes. And we've got a lot of game releases coming up in the next few weeks. So you should be locked in your bedrooms playing a lot of games.
I've got this list here actually. So there really is a lot. We've got Alien Isolation, we've got Drive Club, we've got Borderlands Pre-Sale.
I'll stop you there, but we need to wrap this episode up. So visit our website, www.newgameplus.tv.
Like us on Facebook at New Game Plus TV.
Follow our Twitters and Instagrams at New Game Plus TV.
Or follow us on Twitch at New Game Plus TV.
Well, thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll see you guys next week.
Wow. I really do have a lot here. I've got Sunset Overdrive, you've got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, you've got some Assassin's Creed games, you've got the Halo collection, that seems alright. WWE 2K15, I suppose there are some people that might like that. World of Warcraft, World of Train, or we're going to see Tim that week.